Hi, Virgo. So, I was listening to this talk by a physicist named Nassim Haramein, who's amazing. He was mocked by the entire scientific community for the better part of 2 decades. And now his latest paper on the weight of protons and about the supposition he's making is about mini black holes. It was just accepted and won a bunch of awards within the scientific community, which is a huge deal. Anyway, so I was listening to that earlier today, one of his talks, which is amazing. And he was talking about how in physics, the difference between matter and energy is none. And it's a concept I'd like to focus on with you guys this month because you have so much potential to turn your energy into matter and take all that stuff that you do so well up here and turn it into stuff. And you have so many planetary energies that will help you with that if you can stay on top of the wave instead of letting it make you perhaps emotional or distract you or cause petty arguments because you're just needing that interaction and that creativity. And so if you're not collaborating or if you're not in some way channeling that energy, it will become muddled, with just needing to get out. Okay, so let's see what has come out. So King of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and the Emperor. Okay, so King of Swords, I feel like both of these cards are you right now, actually, but let's start with the King of Swords. So as a Virgo, if you're dealing with an air sign, they're coming up in a position of power. And I think that has to do with you relinquishing some amount of control, but in a way that's perhaps felt painful during the retrograde, but will start to make sense as January, leads into February. Towards the end of January, I feel like whatever has been really confusing you this month, especially having to do with like a dominant air sign energy, that's going to start to mellow out, and you're going to see where perhaps the waiting and the lack of surety worked in your favor. Virgos don't always know what they want until they have to very realistically look at the prospect of a world without that thing. Be it their career choice that they're like, oh, should I do it or not? No, if you should do it. Because if you don't, you won't be able to live with yourself for not having done it, right? That kind of thing. So you guys do have those moments. And the King of Swords here is an energy that's coming up as someone who's already had that moment and is ahead of you a little bit in that way. And so you may have been feeling a lack of control. Then the Three of Pentacles coming in as I always say that this is the sort of relationship energy that all earth signs crave. It's not the most exciting. It's not the Three of Cups. It's not celebratory. It's not Three of Wands, right? It's not like setting out on a new adventure. It's certainly not Three of Swords. It's stable, right? These people have been married for a long time. They work really well together. They run a well-oiled machine that makes a lot of money. They spend it on things like getting works of art commissioned. It just works. Just keeps going, keeps working, keeps making money. And that leads me to the greater point outside of relationships, outside of what you may be feeling emotional about today, as you're watching this, this is setting up 2018. Forget the rest of that stuff. This is what we're talking about, turning energy into matter. These are those wheels that you can use to take whatever's in your mind that you feel really good about right now, that you think could work, whatever you've been collaborating on, whatever in terms of work, in terms of making money, in terms of moving forward in that way that's so important. You have the opportunity to build this machine, whatever that means for you. You have the opportunity to do that now. And the Emperor coming up as what you stand to gain if you do. I think that every sign has that drive in some arena of their life where they want to dominate. I think Virgos are one of the signs that, ironically, not being cardinal, really like to dominate every situation. And generally that's not a problem because you guys are smart, you're good looking, you're well put together. But this isn't about charming people. It's just not. This is a different sort of power. This is the sort of power that one has because they are established. They have this behind them. And in most cases, or, my dad would say in every case, they also have this with them. And what is this? I've been this for you guys sometimes, so you should have some idea of what this is. This is the energy that is totally aware of your delicate sensibilities and of how deeply you feel things and how important words are, and yet can still cut you to the bone, and does it with no remorse. Someone who truly understands that you, more than most people, need this in your life because it's just too easy for you guys to talk yourselves into and out of responsibilities. It's too easy. There are very few people who are able to, hold a Virgo to task about what they've done. And having a Virgo moon, I've actually been thinking about it a lot because I realized something about myself, and then I realized I was like, oh, that's not a Gemini thing, so I'm gonna have to talk to the Virgos about it and see if they do it too. And then I started thinking about all the Virgos I know, and I was like, oh my god, this is a Virgo thing. They all do it. We all do it. So I can only give my own example, right? So what I do is something will happen, okay? And it doesn't have to be a big deal. But something will happen, let's say in a friendship or any sort of a person-to-person relationship. Something will happen where I am slightly but deeply offended. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that someone does something around me. A perfect example, littering. Littering is a perfect example. It really doesn't matter who you are or what the context of our conversation or that moment is. If I see you littering, in that moment, I am slightly offended at what you've just done, but I'm deeply offended also, as in I'm never going to hang out with you again. Because no. Okay? So, but instead of just saying, hey, you did something I really didn't like, and I'm just not going to hang out with you anymore. Instead, what I do is I say nothing. My friend Ro, who is a Virgo, calls it, the way she mocks me is when she makes fun of me, what she says is, Amber, you just sit there and go, right? And she's like, and I know, I can see in your mind what's going on, which is just like, I just cut you off, I just cut you off, I just cut you off. So what I do then, instead of saying, oh, you did, again, littering, oh my God, you just littered, like, what's wrong with you? Don't you understand, like, the fabric of society is held together by people all doing their, like, what's, blah, blah, blah. I don't. Instead, I'll just wait, because now I realize that this person's totally going to do more stuff. And this thing on its own is probably not that big a deal, but it is to me ideologically, but I'll just not take the responsibility of having to tell this person anything or explain myself, I'll just wait for this person to do something even worse, and then it'll be their fault. The first time I said that out loud to myself, or like actually allowed myself to think about it, I was shocked at how accurate it was for how I behave. I was shocked. And this is why I understand why so few Gemini, like I know a lot of Geminis and I help a lot of Geminis and I talk to a lot of Geminis, but I don't really hang out with a lot of Geminis. Almost everyone I hang out with is a Virgo. And I think this is why, because they're the only ones that don't offend me. Everyone else does things where I'm like, whoa, that's gross. Right? But instead of dealing with people, I just don't say anything. And then inevitably they will do something worse. And I'm like, sorry, but I can't deal with this. Sorry. So what I've realized is that that's one, really passive aggressive, super negative. Two, very unfair. So unfair. And three, it is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we know that. And that's part of why we do it, because we're like, oh, this person's going to definitely do this again. Let me just, it's not even like I'm setting up the trap. I'm not setting a trap. I'm just sitting here watching you walk into it again. I didn't set it. You said it. You said it for yourself. You said it when you did that thing, and now you're going to do it again. So there are, there are very few energies that can cut through that with you and kind of walk you through like what I just did. Not the most pleasant thing to hear about yourself or your sign, but like I really was doing that from my point of view because I do it. I really do that. And it's a very Virgo thing to do, but the ability to see that, articulate it, and be able to commiserate with you about it in the hopes of you seeing that that is destructive behavior. Destructive for other people, destructive for yourself, but more importantly, destructive for other people. And why more importantly? And something I talked about in the Gemini reading last month, and just like basic rules of karma, right? So one of the things I've realized when you behave like that with people, when I behave like that with people, is that you teach people how to be and how to feel about themselves. And when one is passive aggressive, what they do is they teach people through repeated exposure to the same behavior, right? Learned behavior. People that you're dealing with develop these learned behaviors that they aren't cared for, that people don't care about them. Because when you're sitting there watching someone walk into a trap, that's the first thing you can take for granted, right? Is that you don't care about them. Because if you cared about them while they were walking towards it, you would say, hey, the other day when you littered, that was really offensive to me. And like, I'm kind of questioning everything about you as a person, because why and how did you get to this point, not realizing that you don't throw trash in the street? I would just like to know. And furthermore, can you change it? Because I would still like to hang out with you and I care about you as a person, but I really don't want you to do that anymore. Okay, that's a fucking lot. And I'm not doing that for someone I don't care about. So I'll just, watch them walk into that trap. The important part of that sentence being someone I don't care about. Now, the thing that we have to admit to ourselves is that we do this with people that we also care about. So when you're doing this with someone that you don't care about, it's very easy to legitimize that. I just did it. Why the fuck should I spend all this time talking to you about, what you shouldn't do, and how did you even get to be 30 something years old and not know that you don't throw trash? Like, what in the world, do we have to go back to like, how did you grow up? Because I don't care about that person. But we have a tendency to do this. Virgo rising, Virgo moon, Virgo sun, Virgo Mercury, Virgo, Venus have a tendency to do the wait and see, we'll see, let the person walk into the trap with people that we care about. And they sense that. And after a while, they get hip to it, the smart ones at least. And those are the only ones that we like to keep around. But the smart ones get hip to the fact that they are being kind of walked off a cliff over and over again. And they develop this learned behavior that because this keeps happening to them, because you keep not caring about them, that perhaps nobody cares about them. Now, from a responsibility point of view, is that your fault? No, it'd be very hard to prove that. From a karmic point of view, which is what I'm getting to now, are you responsible for that person now interacting with other people in the world and genuinely feeling like they are not worthy of attention, affection, whatever it was that you were withholding from them while they were walking, into that trap? Yes. Because when we don't have those hard conversations, or we don't show that level of engagement with the people that we love, they do develop this phobia, or this, it's, I don't want to say it's like a Stockholm syndrome, because that's, extreme, but they develop this nagging belief, that love means kind of walking blindly into stuff, and then the rebuke kind of comes out of nowhere because you aren't being clued in along the way, like, hey, you're messing up, hey, you're messing up, hey, you're messing up. Which, like, I don't, like I said, I don't like doing it either. That's annoying. And Virgos have this, like, but I want to see your true colors thing too. So it's, it's complicated. What the King of Swords, why all that? Why go into all that? Because I think it's important for what's coming up for you. If you are going to find your voice and be honest and find, what is all this noise though? No. Sorry. Going into all that was necessary because finding your own voice, turning energy into matter, taking those first steps towards prosperity, taking a risk, collaborating, falling in love, all of it, whatever version this well-oiled machine is going to take for you, that begins with having those talks, with not letting people walk into those traps, and with letting people have those talks with you as well. Because part of the reason that Virgo doesn't like to have those conversations is because we don't want anyone in our shit like that either. Like when people talk to me about eating meat, I'm like, yeah, no, it's horrible. And they're like, no, but it's really bad. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, why are we talking about that? I get it. No, I get it. It's like that. But the King of Swords is like, we got to start this off in a way that makes sense. You've got a year coming up where you really have so much capacity, power, partnership, money, dominance, really coming into your own, really feeling that time of your life where you're like, you feel like you got your swag back. You may not feel like that right now, but by the time we get to the end of January, you're gonna feel better. Yeah, there's some hard conversations along the way. There's some swords that you need to like deal with, but the Three of Pentacles is very promising. It means that you will find yourself working towards long-term prosperous, undertakings. It's the Emperor. Like, if we're looking at the major arcana as road signs, then the Emperor is saying, you're going to be in control of a lot of things. You're going to have a place of prominence. There's money involved. There's accomplishment here. Also, the Emperor is the Aries card. So as a Virgo, if you're dealing with an Aries or someone who has strong Aries placements, they're just like, I'm still here. I'm still willing to do the work. I'm still, you want this Three of Pentacles life? So there's that to deal with. But I feel here more that the Emperor card is about your aspirations. Okay, Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. So, man, there's a lot of conversations to be had. Let's take a look, and I'll shuffle some more while we talk. Oh, sorry. Okay, now, King of Swords, Three of Pentacles, the Emperor, Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. You guys with this slow moving stuff that you do, sometimes it seems like you're never gonna get there. Excuse me. Like you're never ever going to just get there. But then you do. It just takes like so long. Like it's so long. It's so slow motion that it looks like it's standing still. It's so slow. And like I've always had a really hard time understanding why, because you guys think so fast. So I don't understand. As a Gemini, as someone who thinks really fast, Geminis think fast and we do fast. Like Virgos and Geminis are both ruled by Mercury. We're the only two ruled by Mercury. So like for Gemini, it's like we are so confounded by the Virgo personality because we're like, no, but we're Mercurial. We think fast, we do fast. And Virgos are like, yeah, I think fast too. I'm standing still. And we're like, oh, how are you doing that? I want to learn that trick. Show me how you do that trick. Jeez Louise. Yes, that is a Cure reference. And if you're screaming right now because you love that song, I'm right there with you. So Knight of Pentacles, finally, moving towards the Queen of Cups. So if you're dealing with someone who is a water sign and has water placements, there's a very stable sort of romance in the air here. But I really, you're coming up in the middle of the reading I really don't think you're here yet. I think that if you're watching this right now and it is not resonating with you, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all because you don't know it yourself yet. Again, this takes me back to I don't get how you can think so fast and then be so slow. You can think so fast theoretically, and yet when it comes to processing your own feelings and thinking about it, it takes so long, but it's it's this. This is when you finally turn the key, is when you get that Three of Pentacles energy. And that will start for you in a few days from now, but will really culminate for you towards the end of January, where everything is going direct. All the planets are going to go direct and everything's just moving. And that's what it's going to take. That's what it takes for Virgo to move, is the entire universe, the entire galaxy starts to go direct, right? What I meant was solar system, just being exaggerative. The entire solar system goes direct, and then Virgo moves. Moving towards what? Queen of Cups. I often characterize the Queen of Cups as a love that you don't comprehend. You know, you've got a Cancer full moon, super moon, right at the beginning of the month. And starting with that super moon, that Cancerian super moon, you guys are going to be jacked because it's really going to get to you. It's going to get to your feelings. And it's Cancerian super full moon. Like, it's all about feelings. And this water sign is just like, look, they're immersed in the feelings, in the feels. They live in the feels. Their throne is in the feels. You know, like, this person knows. And they've known. And so, very powerful, like, positioning of the cards. So let's see. Let's ask some smart questions now, yeah? What is it that happens in the mind? What is it with the planets going direct and Saturn moving and taking the pressure off of certain areas? What is it that happens that brings you here? What do we need to know about that event, about that understanding? What's going to help us get there? Ooh, all that, huh? Okay, that's a lot. I have to move this back even more. Excuse me, I have a thing about, like, the frame. Yes, all right. So now, 5 of Cups, 4 of Cups, bottom of the deck, okay. Hangman. Oh, so what did we ask? We asked what takes you from here to here. What takes you from the slowest thing on earth to, oh my God, you were right and I love you. Okay, so what takes you there? Let's see. Well, first of all, regret, remorse. There's this weird thing about Virgos where they don't see value until it's gone. And then they can't get over the fact that they lost it. It's like you guys don't realize that you had a winning lottery ticket until you throw it out. And then you see the numbers on TV and you're like, shit, oh God, why didn't I take care of that ticket? Because I didn't know it was valuable, but I should have, but now I do. Oh God, the cups are spilled. And then, you know, the inevitable, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what to do with myself. I am standing still, I feel stuck. I'm standing still, I feel stuck. I am standing still and I'm stuck to the max. Okay, so that happened. And then what happened? Then we felt even worse. Gotcha. That makes sense. This generally does lead to this, which generally does lead to you breaking your own heart. Okay. Gotcha. Libra, karma. Feeling a sense of punishment from the universe, karmic retribution from the universe for not valuing that which was the most valuable. Your heart. Taking what you can and rowing towards stiller, calmer waters. Taking what you can glean from the heartache, the karmic lesson, the stringing yourself upside down and breaking your own heart open, taking what you can from that experience and moving forward with some real intellectual know-how. You know, that's the way Virgo needs to process love. They need to learn more and more and more about it and think more and more about it and develop some paradigms for themselves. Having done that, you know, really forged in fire, kind of like having done that through the pain, moving away from that now, moving to a place of, there's just cognitive cohesion here. When you decide that what you think is more important and what you believe is more important than where you are, you move. You move towards something better. Moving towards this is such a great card for a Virgo because it's like the female hermit, right? It's the hermit without the cave. Why not sit on a throne and be pretty instead of wear a hood and sit in a dark cave with a lantern when you can have the moon lighting, the world for you instead of a lantern? Taking another step, right? Past the fool, past the magician. No longer needing to transmute anything, no longer needing to put on any sort of a show. Content in what you have learned, what you know now, what you know. And what do you know? Well, for sure you've learned that love is sacred and that you don't mess with it. For sure you've learned that karma is swift when you do mess with it. You've learned how the Hanged Man, although in some ways can seem safe, that is a deceptive safety. It's not safe at all. And you've also learned the power of regret. What happens when you don't watch what you say or don't watch what you do and what it can lead to. The remorse, the lessons have been hard, Virgo, this past year. And so taking this and moving with all of this, because remember, the question we asked was, how did we get here and what do we need to know about this? What's going to make this easier? And the way it's coming up is, what do you need to know? You need to remember what you've been through to get here so you don't mess it up. Looks like you've been through a lot. All right, let's keep going. So from the High Priestess, okay, now to the Three of Wands. Interesting, that's the same one that came up in the Gemini reading as the first card. So catching up now to your mercurial partners there. Three of Wands, a new way. Travel, short trips, going away, taking risks, wanting more for yourself. Wanting more. Not wanting to make the same mistakes. Queen of Pentacles, great card for a Virgo. Your element, royalty, someone like you offering you something great. Does that make sense? This is someone like you. This is someone that you could go on vacation with, or start a business with, or marry, or have kids with, or write a book with, or make a movie with, or doesn't matter, start a band with. This is someone who is offering you a chance at something super golden and great and beautiful. Something that's going to lead to a really fun sort of contentment for a Virgo. When Virgos like to drink too much beer and get a little fat in their cheeks. That. Because what's being offered to you is very real. There's no doubt as to the value of that. To the point where she doesn't have to really even, sell it to you. She's just sitting there with it like, you want this? Right? So how did you get here and what do you have to remember and what's going to make it easier for you to, don't look at this as just you going towards a person. This is you going towards that which will make you complete, that which will elevate your emotional intelligence and bring you into a place of feeling and knowing. If that's in, the guise of a partner who makes you feel and think deeply, if that's in the form of a friendship, if that's in the form of a creative pursuit that brings out this Queen of Cups within you, all very valid interpretations of this. When you look at these cards, it's important to also note your visceral reactions to them. Some people are really good at that, and I think some people shy away from it. I think it's a great thing to do. I think it's great. I think it's great to look at these cards and do your own mini reading. Go with what's on the table and be like, you know what? what she's saying is okay, but I know my specific situation, and because of that, I can see how what actually this means for me is blah, 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 blah. Right? But regardless of what your specific themes are, the general themes for January going into February, and also just, in terms of your life path, that's what we're really talking about. We're not even really talking about New Year's or January. We're talking about your life path. And in terms of life path, I think what you're coming to now is a realization that the past 3 years, in a lot of ways, have seemed like a waste of time, and there are a lot of regrets. These 3 cups, 3 swords, but those 3 wands there, the hope, like, you shouldn't be looking at it that way if you are. And even if you're feeling like you've been spinning your wheels for a few years, this person is not spinning their wheels. And I got to tell you, even the Hanged Man is covered with illumination. Even his crown chakra is spinning so fast that he's got a halo. Everything that happens for your betterment, happens for the refinement of you. So even those things, even that time period was valuable. And that's what the cards are trying to say, because it's saying, look, all of this is what led you to, here. It led you here to this person. And then from here, everything just opens up. Everything expands for you. And you are able to take these wands of manifestation and use all this creative energy that's going to be around, and use all this good luck that's going to be around, and just go for it. You also have to be a little bit careful, because your communication this month is going to be sharp. And I think that's why the King of Swords also comes up, because Scorpio is in your house. Scorpio is your house of communications, right? And Jupiter's in Scorpio, right? And then Mars is going to be in Scorpio too. So you guys are going to be sharp. So what's new? Well, I think instead of being sharp, you should just be vocal. And I think you should be vocal about the things that matter. And I think this is definitely that Scorpio energy, because this is always what comes up for me in the Scorpio readings, because this is always how they behave. So taking, a page out of that Scorpio, have the say it how it is vibe that they have, right? Taking notes from that in what not to do. Say what you got to say to get where you need to be. Do it in that Scorpio way, where it's based in feeling, but also it's articulate. But be very careful, because it's very sharp. A lot of weapons, a lot of armor. And hey, that makes it great to be her or him when there's all these weapons and armor to protect you, but getting there is tough when this is the energy you're dealing with. So keeping that in mind. And also, I think what the cards are, trying to hammer home to you is keeping in mind what you've just come out of. Don't get cocky. Keeping in mind what you've come out of and what you were supposed to have learned on a deeply spiritual level, what you are supposed to have learned from this only happens to teach you something, is that love is sacred. Connections are sacred. Your ability to create, your innate ability to tap into the subconscious as only the hermit can do, that priest quality, that shaman quality, all of these things are sacred. Your connections to others and to the divine and to yourself, these are sacred. And now you have a chance and the energy to really explore that in a really, really amazing way, where whether it's money that you want, or whether it's love and money and insight and travel and more opportunity, it's all there for you. You can have it. It's being offered to you, right? And it's like the queen thing is funny to me, because you have this like very obvious need rolling into 2018 for spirituality and really moving yourself off the material grid into something much more spiritually satisfying, ideologically satisfying. And so even though there's all these other offers, the thing that's going to hook you and keep you and make you happy is the energy that is, it's outside of your understanding. It's smarter than you somehow. It's offering you something that you cannot duplicate, because money you can make, and your attraction quotient is off the charts. We know that already. Power you can have. But I think ultimately what you will settle on in terms of creative pursuit, collaboration, marriage, whatever it is, where you're going to end up putting your time is into something or someone who possesses a knowing and an intelligence level, therefore, that you are astounded by, that you are impressed by. That's what will your heart, but also your mind. It's a really great balance this month of your heart and your mind leading you in the right direction. But none of this is going to make sense right now because you're here right now. You will be here. But right now you're here. Okay? So I'll do the bottom of the deck right now. Actually, I'll do the extended now. And I'll actually put it up now too. All right, you guys, I love you. I will see you in February. Bye.